So the self-improvement and entrepreneurship niche on YouTube and social media is really just dead at this point. I mean, it was good back in 2021, 2022 when there was actually a market for this type of content and when it was actually helping people. Like that's around the time that I really got into watching these types of videos because they were actually helpful. They were actually, giving me sound advice, like things I could actually do to improve my life, adopt better habits, and cut out negative habits. But now it's really just become this circle jerk of internet LARPing. And it's just the same recycled trash and pseudo motivational verbal diarrhea over and over and over again. It's really just become a cesspool of these edgy teenagers who are just LARPing on the internet. They're really just posting the same type of content, which is just you need to grind, you need to do it. And it's just this awful content that no one even wants to watch because everyone has seen it a million times. In fact, I'm pretty sure you could just train an AI to generate one of these things. Like, I could, I've been in several of these online communities, and it's just the same shit over and over again. It's just teenagers. It's like they're posting on LinkedIn, but for motivational speakers. And all of them are just telling me to grind. Like, that doesn't even make any sense. So, what started out as just like genuine advice and just helpful, almost like a tutorial, it is really just mindless hustle culture bullshit. It's the same. It's the same thumbnails. Where there's a guy looking mean and he's like, outwork everyone, and never sleep, and it's just all of this stuff. It just plays on your insecurities. All it's meant to do is just spike your fear and get you to watch the video. I mean, it's just clickbait, obviously. But even then, it's really just putting you in a negative mindset. Like, they always disguise it like, oh well, I'm just telling you the truth, and this is the world we live in. And well, yeah, if you're just gonna bombard people with this negativity, of course that's going to be the world they live in because they're just watching this type of content all the time. That's the energy behind it. Like, none of this even helps people. It's just weaponizing people's nervous systems and taking advantage of insecurities that young men have. And it's just leading them astray because it's telling them, you know, you're gonna die broke in poverty and no one's ever gonna love you unless you like do drop shipping or something. Unless you just subscribe to this dumb hustle culture. And that's just not true. Okay? Look, you can, all it does, this type of content, the reason it gets clicks, the reason that these masculinity gurus exist is because this type of content puts your brain in a state of fight or flight. Okay? It tells you that there is some kind of threat in the world. That, oh, you're going to die broke, someone's going to steal your girlfriend. You have to lock in, you have to grind, otherwise, you're undeserving of life or something. And it just makes people, it just puts people in this state of survival. And in the short term, yeah, sure, it can help you get something done. Just like, when a deer is in fight or flight mode, it can run a lot faster than usual and get away from the threat. But that's only for, a very limited amount of time. It's not supposed to be something that you sustain. And so what ends up happening is that these young men watch this type of content and they think, oh, I gotta grind. And then they just like, they just, close themselves off from life. And then they just, tire themselves out. They burn out doing something they hate because they think it's what they have to do. And, when they inevitably burn out, I mean, they think it's their fault. And because all these videos are telling you that everything is your fault, everything's like, you know, everything is because of you. And look, I get the part about accepting responsibility about the things in your life. Yeah, I do think that's important. But to tell everyone that they don't deserve rest and they all they have to do is just work harder, just grind more, it's just not constructive. Okay? If somebody is trying to, you know, unscrew a nail using their fingernails and they can't do it, you don't tell them, oh, just work harder. You give them a screwdriver. You give them the right tools to do it so that they don't waste their energy. Okay? And so, when these kids burn out, they think it's their fault, and they're a lot worse off because, they've watched these videos and these videos are always saying, oh, it's all you, you gotta grind. And it's like, it's creating a very toxic mentality. And these guys are just complete hypocrites. These masculinity gurus, these fucking entrepreneurship gurus, these grind peddlers on the internet, all of them are complete and total hypocrites because they tell you that masculinity is about being stoic and controlling your emotions. Oh, you have to be in control of your emotions. True men need to learn stoicism. And then, but their entire brand, their entire content is dependent on stoking fear and guilt in their audience. It's all about spiking their cortisol levels of the people who watch your content. Otherwise, they don't even get clicks. Otherwise, no one subscribes to their shitty paid school communities. Nobody buys their course on drop shipping. And so it's total hypocrisy. Like, and none of these guys ever got rich by doing the things that they're telling you to do. Do you know how they're getting rich? They're getting rich by selling you the dream. The best way to get rich these days is to sell a course on how to get rich. All these guys on the internet that I see, they're just renting out mansions, pretending that they live there. And then they're saying, oh, I was able to afford this because I did this business model and I could teach you too. And then you paid like $7,000 for some shitty online course about drop shipping, about high ticket sales, about, social media marketing, like just soulless work that nobody would ever do unless they absolutely had to. And even then, it's not even worth it. It's not fulfilling at all. You're better off just getting a regular job, which brings me to my next point. Is that the whole point of this entrepreneurship was to get away from this 9-to-5 rat race, right? Like that's what all these entrepreneurship gurus are always shitting on. They're always saying, oh, 9-to-5 is for cucks and you're a loser if you work 9-to-5 and you retire at age 65. I get it, okay? This baby boomer script is completely and totally outdated. It was created during the Industrial Revolution, and it was meant to just pump out obedient workers. And even now, it can't even manage the bare minimum. But modern hustle culture, modern grind culture, and this cult of entrepreneurship it's literally just the same boomer rat race ideology repackaged. It's literally the same exact thing. In fact, I would argue it's even worse. It's the same exact, oh, just work harder. Oh, just pull yourself out by your bootstraps. Oh, just grind more. It's the same thing. You can't tell me. It's just glorifying capitalism and putting all of the burden onto the individual without actually having an intellectual critique of the status quo. And I don't want to make this into a whole socialism versus capitalism type of thing, but I'm just trying to get you to think that this whole idea of 40-hour work week, working 9 to 5, retire at 65 and whatever. That was back then, but now the modern hustle culture is just the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's just the same thing repackaged, and because it's just glorifying the individual, it's glorifying capitalism, glorifying consumerism, and both of these have the same message. It's just telling you that your self-worth is tied to your productivity and how much money you make. Hence, it's just a cult of entrepreneurship. But I mean, it's just the aesthetic that's different. In fact, I would even argue that it is worse than working 9 to 5. Because at least with most 9 to 5 jobs, you get some kind of benefit. And yeah, I get their solace also. Yeah, I've worked 9 to 5. I've worked in these office jobs, but I've also tried my hand at various online businesses like drop shipping. I've done e-commerce. I've done social media marketing, all of which were not pleasant, okay? I'll be honest with you. There were so many times where I was just grinding so hard trying to set up my online business, and I just wish I just had a 9 to 5, because you never stop working with being like a business owner or entrepreneur. That's something they never tell you. And as a result, you're basically working 24/7. You can't even turn your brain off, at least with a 9 to 5. You work 9 until 5, and then after that, you drive home, and then you can just turn your brain off. You don't have to work. You don't have to think about work at all. You could just go have a beer with your friend, go watch some TV, do whatever you want. You don't feel any kind of obligation until the next morning. So, and plus you get health care, and you get whatever other benefits from your job. You get a 401k, you're saving money for retirement. Okay, I'm just listing out the benefits, okay? I'm not trying to be an advocate for, the 9 to 5 rat race. I'm not trying to shill for that. I'm just trying to say that some of you have tunnel vision because you've been bombarded by this anti 9 to 5 entrepreneurship propaganda. And I'm telling you, a lot of it is not even real, because these gurus, these entrepreneurship gurus, are just selling you a dream so that you sign up to their mastermind, you sign up to their paid school community, where it's all of these teenagers just posting the same LinkedIn type messages. So I've tried that, and I ended up working way more hours than I would have if I just got a 9 to 5. And the amount of money I made was a lot less. I had no benefits, obviously, and I had a lot less time. And I realized, I was sacrificing so many other parts of my life. I wasn't really present when I was with friends, because I was always thinking, how can I improve this metric? How can I improve this and that? And there were probably so many opportunities that were slipping past me, because I was, trying to do this thing that I thought would make me successful, that I saw all these gurus shilling for. So, I mean, the point of all this is that you lose so much more of your life than you would if you just had a 9 to 5. And a 9 to 5 is not bad. No one's saying you have to work this job for the rest of your life. I mean, if you learn something good, then yeah, so be it. Learn what you can, then quit. No one's telling you have to, do a 40-hour work week until you die. What if, bear with me here, you just work a job you enjoy. Okay, you just learn about money on your free time, you work a job you enjoy, and you just try things here and there. You don't let these online influencers, don't let these fucking entrepreneurship gurus feed you this fear, feed you this, you know, dysregulation in your nervous system, because it's going to completely screw up the way that you think. So, I mean, what is the alternative to this like grind ideology? It's just aligned creation. Okay? You need to be just try things out. What would you do if money were no object? What would you spend your time doing if you had all the free time in the world? Like, what are things that energize you? What are things that you genuinely want to do? Like, forget about money, literally. If you have a lifestyle built around, clarity to a purpose, and you introduce, this is when I recommend you actually introduce some kind of spiritual practice, because it really helps you get attuned to the things that you actually want. And from then, you could just take this intentional action from there. And the guy who is doing something he loves, okay, he's going to absolutely destroy the guy who's just mindlessly grinding any day of the week. If I'm working on creating, let's say, travel content, because I love to travel. If I'm focused on creating travel content, it's something I enjoy, rather than, let's say someone else is trying to do travel content, but he hates it. It's not something genuine to him. He's going to be, I don't care. It doesn't matter how hard he grinds. He could grind for a whole week, and I could grind for 4 hours, and I will get a lot more done than he will. I will get a lot farther than he will. So it's not about the amount of input that you're putting in. It's really just about quality. So, yeah, I mean, I wish I could give you a better alternative answer to this, to why I stopped watching this pseudo-motivational verbal diarrhea. That's just the same regurgitated messaging over and over and over again. Because it just gets, honestly, it just gets lame. And I really think, thankfully, this stuff is dying out. But unfortunately, there's still so many of these people online. And there's going to be these broccoli heads that are going to be mad at me, and they'll say, oh, what's wrong with improving yourself? This guy's just a crab. He wants you to slow down. And this is the problem. These people have been completely brainwashed by these gurus who have told them it's a cult. Okay, it's a cult mentality. These gurus have put it in their heads that unless they grind for like 10 hours a day, like some industrial revolution era slave, then some Chad is going to come and take their girlfriend, and they're going to die penniless and alone. And that's just not true. Like, I heard one of the dumbest things from one of these influencers, one of these YouTubers. I mean, he said something, he compared life to some race where at the end of the race there's the girl you want, and then every single guy that passes you is going to get the girl. And there's going to be guys who tell you it's okay, take a break, and they're just trying to get you to slow down so they could take your girl. I mean, this is the dumbest idea. This is the dumbest analogy that I have ever heard in my entire life. I don't even know that if I'm probably going to have to dedicate a whole video to explaining why this is the stupidest idea of all time, and how thinking like this is only going to destroy you. So I'm not telling you not to improve yourself. I'm just saying that self-improvement content on YouTube has just completely nosedived. And as someone who has more or less consumed this type of content for the last 4 years, I've noticed this shift. I've noticed this shift from positivity and trying to help people to just, I mean, hustle porn. And it's not having, I don't think it's having a good effect. But thankfully, it seems to be dying a little bit. People seem to be like, okay, yeah, whatever. This is just the same recycled garbage. I don't need some guy on YouTube yelling at me all the time, telling me I need to grind, telling me that I'm gonna die alone if I don't make $1 million. Okay, I don't need to be told to outwork everyone. I don't give a shit about outworking everyone, because I don't give a shit about constantly competing and comparing myself with other people. Okay, if you want to work 50, 60 hours a day, okay, you go ahead. Okay, I've just decided I'm not going to sacrifice my life to do that type of stuff for just a soulless pursuit of money. Okay, yeah, money is important, but I would say there's a lot more important things. And I think when you focus on the things that are true to your heart, on what your actual gift is, rather than just chasing dollar signs, that money is going to come back to you either way. So yeah, I mean, you can call it new age. I just think it's a much more positive way at looking at things. And there's going to be some guy in the comments, he's going to say, I'm a crab. I'm just trying to get you to slow down so I can run ahead of you. Okay, I mean, if you think that way, all right, fine. Go ahead. I mean, you could think like that. You're not hurting anyone except yourself when you think like that. Because not everyone's trying to just destroy you. And this is just individualistic thinking at its best. Like, I don't know why, but Westerners are just so, they just have this like mindset where everyone is against them. It's just so hyper individualistic. And like I said, this modern grind culture, this hustle culture, and all of these grind peddlers, they're literally just promoting the 9 to 5 rat race lifestyle that the boomers did. It's the same exact ideology as the baby boomers, telling you to just work harder, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and oh, you just have to get your foot in the door, man. You just have to work your way up. This is the same thing. This is just the same exact ideology, except it's repackaged for 21st century and for Zoomers. Anyway, that's about it. I've talked for a long time. Hopefully this video was valuable to you.